NSC Fan TV. I'm with Emma.
How you doing?
Hey, we had a time watching the away win at Columbus. You had opinions. Folks sitting near us found out about them too.
I did have some opinions. It looked like the play was a little slow for a big, an away game. You want to play fast, you want to play out. There seemed to be a lot of funneling down the middle.
Yeah.
Mukhtar was trying to make the best for what he could.
He was on his own a while.
Yeah, he was. I think it was a subpar game for a lot of players around him.
Okay.
Nonetheless, we pulled it out.
Yeah. So let's talk about the goal.
Right.
Let's talk about the goal because it was created by some kind of pretty good team play on the wing, an overlap from Washington. You kind of liked the Mukhtar heel pass, right?
I think it was a little overdue. You need to play simple, but if that's the best you can do, if the simplest play you can find is, a heel pass, then heel pass it is.
Yeah, heel pass it is.
Yeah. How did you feel about Mill coming in and filling the spot as a starter?
So I think that he's great. I think that Will and Washington on those wings, they're just such hustle kids. I love seeing them. I love seeing both of those two play, and I think that they both played great defense. I think. And I thought that it was really fortuitous that Will was able to get the ball kind of lofted in from Washington, and it looked like the defender slipped and fell on his butt or something like that, and so Will had an open header. But I mean that's just in some way it's like part of the soccer is just being in places and whenever things happen, and that's what happens. He hustled his ass off. He was in a spot whenever a free ball came, that's what happens whenever you work like that.
How do you feel about Nashville's fit going over the middle part of the season? We know from other sports, there's this saying, the best ability is availability.
Yeah.
It seems Nashville, especially with a lot of senior players, might have a little bit of trouble down that way.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned with given the fact that our starting 11 gets a lot of miles, and not all of them are younger players. We do have, for example, watching Taylor Washington come in, watching John Mayer was the anchor of the defense, and I think that he played fantastically. So I think that we've got a lot of young players that can handle those miles. But I'm with you. I think that I look at the middle of the season, and I'm like, look, a lot of our midfielders sort of later career guys. I'm a little worried about what those miles are going to look like on them. I was really happy to see that Brian Anunga had such a strong game, and so that's really hopeful to me.
Yeah. How about the switch? So we've seen that in a lot of games in the early part of the season. Nashville played with a back four.
Yeah.
Tonight was probably the first time that they displayed
that three.
Back three.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it was more solid, more back building?
So I think that it can work, especially if those players that are playing on the wings contribute to the defense like they did tonight.
Right.
And so if we can count on Wheel and Washington I think is the stronger of the two defensively. But if we can count on those two, he is a defender, right? But if we can count on them coming back and contributing in the defense, again, the thought here would be that Lovitz would be in one of those spots. I'm inclined to think that a three with kind of two on the sides playing like that is a good setup. So maybe one last question is we were kind of, you had an opinion about the Mukhtar heel pass. Is there what kind of solution do you see for Mukhtar's play? Like it looks like he holds the ball for so long. Is it that you had said that it looked like maybe some of the folks around him, Liao and Sapong, maybe weren't in the spots where they needed to be for him. What are some other solutions that you see for that?
So let's be clear. I've said this before. Mukhtar has a problem, right? Mukhtar has a problem that I'm not his peer, right? So there's always that problem that are you talking about something you know?
Okay.
But if I was in a position like Mukhtar, I would play with my chin up, right?
Yeah.
You see what the play displays, you see what your options are, you try to make something happen with the options you have available. He does not seem to be too much aware of the options he has available. Now, all this standing, Liao has a way support game.
He did not have a good game. He had one outside shot.
I think
that would be the only contribution he made.
As much as I love Randall,
Yes.
he had the worst game of the season.
Yes.
He was never where he needed to be. He was never available to receive the ball.
Yes.
So that's some shame off Mukhtar.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that even if Liao was where he needed to be, Mukhtar would not have seen it. Mukhtar loves the ball a lot. It's sometimes a mutual love affair, that the ball does love him back, but
It's got to be reciprocated more often, huh?
there seems to be an affair that Mukhtar is not completely aware of what his options are, and as a result, he has two options. He holds the ball and gets fouled, he holds the ball and loses the ball.
Thanks.
We got assists from the community here. So much. So yeah, Mukhtar he is a bona fide leader of this group. He does need to be, not just technically, but tactically, one step up.
I think that's reasonable. All right. NSC Fan TV after the win.